Hey everybody, and welcome to Alan's Bonsai. So I'm continuing with 4 more Portulacaria jade. They're fairly old trees, they're all in bonsai pots, but once again, from neglect, they are way overgrown. And a couple of these guys, actually this whole group, some of them have some confusion. I have some confusion over where to go with them, what to do about the apex and things like that. However, even with the confusion, I can still do the cutbacks. So here I'm looking, this obviously is the apex right now, but I'm almost looking at making this the apex and cutting that off. And that's something I can decide later on. I don't have to do everything, and get the tree absolutely perfect right off the bat. That's just my philosophy on bonsai. Here's my shadow. We're now in a lot more sun than the first 2 videos as the sun rises in the sky. And obviously we have this huge thing which may even be going out of the camera, so we're going to shorten him tremendously. And then once again, even with the confusion, I can still create pads, I can still cut off all that excess growth from just the laziness. And if I miss an apex and it begins to grow at the expense of others, I can always pinch it off later. Oh, there's a shadow again. I wear a huge wide brim hat in the sun. Since I was a landscaper most of my life, I've had all the sun on my face that I need. So, as we saw in the last 2 videos, even though this tree may have a little confusion, so it's like, this guy here, why is this guy even here? Take him off, the tree is still perfectly fine. And that could be, a sacrifice branch, hasn't done much. Sacrifice branches work much better when the tree is in training. Once you put it in a bonsai pot, they're not tremendously effective, although they can be. So just giving that guy a haircut has given it such a nicer look. Okay, so number 2. Ah! Fell out of the pot. Oh, and also these are all in different pots instead of all 4 the same. Thank God for editing tools. So here is number 2. And this is another one that, it may need to come up like that. It's totally loose in the pot. Whoop, whoop. But that's alright. And then we have all this wild growth in the back. Or is that the back? Would that make an interesting front? But whether it would or not, we're going to cut all this stuff back one way or the other. So that's just the deal. And it has a little air plant on it too. I really think this guy needs to be more about like that. Get rid of this guy. And this guy's a little bit more confusing, there's no doubt about it. If the apex is up in here, this branch is way too long. So I think it really needs a repotting. And I may have to cut the branch that has the air plant on off like that, because it's just too weird in the back. And just pinch these guys. So how's that looking? Once it gets sunny, it's so hard for me to see through the viewfinder. So yeah, you know, you can see he's leaning way too far forward. So that's in the future. Looks a whole lot better. So on to number 3. This guy here is pretty interesting. Has sort of that semi-cascade look too. And this branch here is very heavy. So I'll put him back down so that my hand isn't in the way. And there's some crazy growth right here. See this growth right here? It's shooting back against the grain. It's going back towards the trunk. You always want to cut that stuff off completely, because that just is totally unnecessary for the design of your tree. And this one is he's pretty cool actually. This one reminds me of the Green Island ficus that I did. Much bigger tree. So here we have another real strange growth. We have this guy here, and then it's shooting down back here. And based on the tree, I think I can just shorten that tremendously. In fact, even just take it off there. That's cleans it up so much better. All right. That's a nice little tree. And even though these branches, you know, I left nothing, they're going to pop. I'm going to give them all some fertilizer, keep them well watered. We're at the end of February here, so where I live in Zone 10 in the U.S., we're basically talking springtime. So there's number 3. And number 4 is an interesting tree. I think the front really needs to be more like that, which now the pot isn't straight at you. So this guy is going to need to be repotted at some point. This tree also has a slant, but the slant is going from right to left. And I normally don't design trees with a right to left slant, because since I'm, you know, a Westerner and I read from left to right, I find that trees that move from left to right visually are more pleasing for me. So I rarely, if ever, design a tree that moves the other way. But here we go. Here's one right. Here's evidence that I do have some. And this guy, is he moving too far forward like that? A little bit, maybe. So when the repotting comes, I'm going to move him like that and bring him up a little. And I want to take this guy away because we normally don't have any downward branches. In bonsai, it's a design thing, and also it just mimics nature more, because branches don't grow down in nature. If a branch begins to grow down, the tree just doesn't provide any nutrients to that branch, and it typically dies off. So there's number 4. So, as in my last video, I'm going to put them all together. What's that one Beatles song? All together now, all together. And there's the shade from my hat again. I'm throwing a lot of shade. Maybe I'll put him in the back because he's a little Probably going to edit most of this out anyway, so. So there's all 4 trees cut way back. Some decision making needs to be done on some of them. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with just the cutback. I'm going to fertilize them, let them regrow. As I work on them in the future, I could always make those other decisions. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe and hit the notification bell, and you can watch these babies develop even further. And leave a comment. Tell me what you think. I would love to hear from you. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.